Please welcome writer James Olivier and writer-director Serge Chelobadaki. So again, you can tweet your questions to #SBFF. Please remember, you're asking questions. They're giving answers. Do we have any questions? Raise your hands. Yes, back there, ma'am. Yes. Yes, you. Say that again. Why that ending? We'll begin with the ending.
It's his fault. Why not?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
More questions? Yes, sir. Right, so the question is about the inspiration for the paintings, and if you can give us some of that.
We felt it was interesting and meaningful for the character to use a number of different elements to try to piece together elements from his past that he'd become disconnected from. And the use of the paintings, which was the medium through which the mother expressed herself, we felt was the best way for OCTAV to kind of look for the clues in certain lessons and messages that his mother had given him that he hadn't perhaps understood to their fullest when he was a child.
And did you use a specific artist for the paintings in the movie?
We had people who, just artists, but people from the crew that worked with painting before. So,
okay,
but not any specific names.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
How did you get the little girl to cry? Amazing.
How did you make that girl cry? What
Yes,
did you do?
That was. She was very, she couldn't do it in rehearsal, obviously, and on the day I told her to think of the saddest things she could think of in her life, what happened to that point. And I said, don't tell me what it is, but just try. And she did once, and that's the first take, and it was absolutely amazing. The second one was a bit drier, and then I said, so what did you think about it? She says, oh, my dog died, and I just thought I would think of that, and it was just splendid.
Yes, more questions. I'm sorry. Yes, there. Yes, sir, in the back. Could you repeat the question a little louder, please? So the question is about there's several references to the tree and to the leaves, did you say? Yes. Would you care to say anything about that?
Yeah, I guess it seemed like a meaningful metaphor, the tree being or being able to live in so many different states, from barren to in full bloom and in full flower, and the evolution of the tree within the painting, which kind of follows OCTAV's perception as it evolves through the film. So yeah, it's kind of the metaphor for his perception, and in a way the metaphor for the life of his own mother.
I was also interested in the scene when they're playing hide and seek and he just becomes mesmerized by the ants on the tree. Did that carry a particular meaning to it, or was it just a kid being like I was and just staring at something like that?
Probably a different kid, interested in details and fascinated, and a very strong relation to nature, which he carries through. And as James pointed out, by the end, to reconnect to that, he needs to travel back in many different ways. But he kind of stands out at the beginning by being a bit more, perhaps more depth than any other kid.
Yes. More questions? Yes, ma'am. Right. So the question was, what was the inspiration for this film?
From my side, yes, my mother was a painter and my father was a musician, and so obviously this is very present. The life lesson, the musical metaphor is also based on my father's phenomenology, but yeah.
Yeah, there are a number of themes that are very close to our hearts. The nostalgia, the connection to our childhoods, to our youth, the special connection that both of us have to a very special place, to a house. It's not the same one, but we actually know each other's special house, that place where you go, and the smells and the sounds and the senses act like a portal that reconnect you in 1 second to those special memories of childhood. And that's something we both have, and we think that a lot of people can kind of relate to.
I was actually, well, no, go ahead, please.
I was just going to add that we're actually friends since we're 10 years old. And we wrote this film 30 years ago. For you too. And so it's on the screen since a year and a half, so it's an amazing little journey we did.
As you were talking about your father being a musician, I was struck upon this viewing as how much the music played almost another character in the movie, and was wondering what the process of that was. Assume you worked closely with the composer, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was hugely important because it's, as you can see, it's a inner journey, and so the music helps you to travel, has a bit of a nostalgic tone to it, obviously. So we worked extremely close to accompany the journey. The very warm pictures or images had to be accompanied, I suppose.
It was a beautiful score.
It's quite rich. We didn't want to do too much. I had more, but I just wanted to find the right balance because also less is more, so we have to be very careful here.
The work of Mr. Vladimir Kosma, who's a fantastic
French composer.
Fantastic composer.
Yes, ma'am.
When the father summed it all up with the explanation of the notes, you can still hear it and they still resonate. And you kind of put it all together. And then, you plan things, you remember things, but you don't know, the future is a mystery. So maybe that was why the ending was like that, because it's not a memory.
There you go. That's your answer.
I don't know if I can encapsulate what you just said for the rest of the audience.
No, the most important is that you found it resonated with you, and we don't like to give answers in that respect because everybody has to find their own circle. Yes, the intent is also to invite you, in this particular film, is to invite you to go back to perhaps if it worked for you, it meant that you went back somewhere, found some element that resonated with you, and you can find your own answers rather than us giving you anything. Yes.
Yes, ma'am, you have a question? So the question is, who was Anna in the story, in terms of what was her relationship with the family?
A friend from the family. At the beginning, she's a friend within all the kids.
And so the older woman at the end, is that, or no, at the train station, yes.
Yeah, that's hopefully for you to put together. I wouldn't want to give all the answers, or I have to go back to screenwriting, I think.
No, but it's her if you want that to be her.
And at the end, it's the same.
Do you think it's her?
Okay. Then it might be.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the graph tossing scene. That was wonderful. I wondered if there was anything more to the steps of the stairs. Very sure-footed, upward carriage of staircase happened many times, and then up the stairs to the swing, down the steps, down to the mother's bed.
Right, so the question is about, you see many scenes of him climbing up the stairs and very few scenes of him ever going down the stairs. And was there any meaning behind that?
Sure, but you can see that one of the black knots is the mother's sort of mystery to solve, so he has to go back down in the darker areas, solve it, and hopefully move on. So when you see going up, obviously there's all the playful scenes and happy, nostalgic, but beautiful memories with all the train sequences. And the memory, one of the painful ones of the mother, then obviously he has to sort it out through the steps going down. So if that's what you mean, that's there for a reason.
So we also have a question from Twitter. Why did the adult octave only interact with Anna and Vera?
Yes, that's. He only interacts with Anna and Vera. In the past. Okay. Well, yes, one is purpose. Yes, it's correct. It's correct. Was it a question or was it
the question is, why was that
Oh,
the case?
why?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got a text in the middle of this.
The most the attractive or the most important, obviously, is Anna, because it's something that's left unanswered and unspoiled and untouched, as you can appreciate. And he just got a little bit curious why Anna was leaving, and so he interacted briefly. We had other scenes, but primarily there is no real reason besides him becoming a little bit more proactive from the time that he actually starts to have questions for the maid. Then he starts to look for answers. That's in the script. He's proactive, knowing that he can sort of, travel in the past and figure some answers. So he will interact slightly differently from that point onwards. Including with Anna.
All right. Thank you so much. Serge Shelobadaki.
Thank you, James
very much. Olivier. Please be sure to turn in your ballots.